Gabby.
Hello, Gabby. Hello, lovely to see you. You look stunning. You look so beautiful. How much would you like to play of the G minor?
I'm gonna play 2 movements.
2 movements. The first 2?
Yeah.
Fantastic. All yours. amazing playing. Fantastic, really incredible. All from memory. You've got, you're obviously extremely talented, very, very musical, which I'm sure you know. You've got quite a lot of power as well as a performer at a very young age, if I'm right. Yes. So may I ask you a question, Gabby? How did that feel?
Feels...
You can be completely honest with me. Just pretend no one's here, just you and me.
Because playing baroque, it's always like really overwhelming, and then like it feels really good.
It feels really good. Sorry, what was the first part of the sentence? Can you speak a little bit louder, please?
So playing baroque, it's always like very powerful, and it feels
very powerful. Yeah, and has that to do with just these incredible compositions, which of course we know are some of the most powerful things written, not just for violin, but anyway? Or is it also to do with how it feels to play?
both.
Both, isn't it? And isn't it astonishing that we are in charge, you know, just one player, we're in charge of everything. We're in charge of each fugal subject entry, every bit of harmony. We can decide and control how things work without anyone else being there. And that can go lots of different ways. It can be, well, from my own experience, sometimes that's a little bit daunting, but sometimes it's really liberating. Do you agree? Yeah. Well, I'm wondering whether we could explore a little bit of that, the liberating feeling. And just thinking about the style, you did very, very beautiful stylistic things. There are just a few things I'd like to talk to you about. One is vibrato, and another is gesture, so the musical gesture, which again, you were doing beautiful things. I just wanted to focus on a few little things like that. And shapes on the long notes. I don't know whether you're familiar with the ancient bow, you know, the baroque bow. Maybe you've probably tried one, haven't you? You haven't? Not yet. Well, there's lots of time. You have lots of time. But you're familiar with how it works? Shall I just show you quickly? So, I happen to have one here lying around. So it's, I'm sure you're familiar with the shape. So naturally, when you draw the bow across the string, there's a kind of, you know, the heaviest point is about there, and then it tapers a little bit towards the end, so the sound tapers. So when you draw across 4 strings, like, it goes out of, the violin goes out of tune. Especially in the summer, when it's hot. But anyway, so when you're doing, for instance, the first chord, G minor chord, so it'll be strong at the beginning, which works musically with the bass, yeah, bass is strong, and then it'll come away to the top, naturally. So, that kind of thing. You can play strongly if you want to, but you'd have to fabricate that. Your bow is obviously quite different. It's much heavier at the tip. So if you could pretend that it's lighter and come away a little bit, what we call release, of course, if you could release some of those notes, then we actually have a sense. It's not just a stylistic thing, but it's also wonderful for the sound, and it's wonderful for the direction of the music, because then the direction is focused on the bass. Yeah? So we're listening at all times, especially when we're playing solo violin music, where we have to be not just the melody, we are everything else, the alto, tenor, and especially we are the bass, which we're not used to doing. If we can focus on that and listen to that first, and pretend Like that is the fundament and the strongest thing. So I'd like you to try the beginning and to think about that. Let's just do the first phrase. May I just stop you there? It's very, very good playing. It's very shiny playing, and it's perfect, actually. Perfect playing. But can I ask you to do something else that's maybe not quite as perfect, but maybe stirs us inside a little bit more? I'd like you to give me the information of the harmony. In other words, I'd like every chord to be different. So with a different dynamic, a different sense of shape. So in your mind's eye, you could imagine the first chord maybe to have that shape where it goes whoa, and then it comes out. And the second chord, what have we got there harmonically? We've got a 7, haven't we? We've got an A and a G. 7, and then we've got a third. We've basically got a 4-3 harmony. Da-dee, yeah, which comes away. Okay? Then we've got the dominant, which in kind of harmony rules, the 18th century is strong. And we've also got 7. So that'll be a little bit stronger. And then we go back to the tonic, and of course it's also a short note, it's just a quaver. So that'll be light. So we've basically got 4 different chords. Let's see how different they can sound. So would you mind, could you just play the chords and think the slurs, think the melisma in between. Well done. And could you try it one more time? And could you not play any vibrato at all? Just an experiment. And any shape that you want, you're actually doing with the right hand. So you're not doing the shape with the left hand, with the kind of expressive tool that was used in later music. So the expressive tool in this repertoire, and for quite some time, is very much in the right hand. Let's see if I can show you. Now, I'm a semitone lower, so it's going to sound a different key to you. Okay, so what I was attempting, I don't know whether it comes across, I was attempting not just different dynamic, but also different shapes and different times of release. Can you have a go in your pitch? Well done. Excellent. Now, what's in between these chords? What are those slurs? So there's lots of notes there. Everything is very well explained, isn't it, on the page? So what are they? How do they feel?
Like a trill leading to the next chord.
Sorry, what was that word?
A trill leading to the next.
A trill, like a trill, yeah, an ornamentation, absolutely. So they connect, and I like to think about it visually as maybe something in architecture, like you have the pillars for the chords, and some of them are quite fat, some of them are a little bit thinner. The dominant is a really fat one. And the melisma, the slurs in between, are like the arches with all the beautiful ornamented, there might be an angel up there looking down, like beautiful kind of ornate arches in between the chords. And one more bit of information is that in 18th century rhetoric, which is the art of speaking, which they used to learn at school, a subject called rhetoric. Everything is a symbol for something, and everything has meaning. So when there is a slur, it's an expression, and it means that it's a bit stronger at the beginning, and it comes away at the end. Yeah, so we'd have, I'll have a go. And the end is kind of a bit of a da-da-da. And then we kind of go on to something else. Why don't you just have a go at that phrase in your pitch? Yeah, well done. Excellent. You're very flexible. The end, I think, could be a little less, could be shorter, and a little bit more up in the air. Where are we going to go next? Yeah. And in general, I know we have very little time, but just in general, try to musically, in your musical mind, separate the bass line from the top. So, for instance, the bit coming up, yeah, if we just look at the bass, so we have, and then we have, you play any natural there, yeah, so it's very instructive for us to actually just isolate the bass and to just play the bass. Could you do that for me, just in the next phrase, please? Okay, Gabby, thank you. Thank you, well done. The upbeats need to be lifted. So even if they are a dissonance, you would always lift them at the end. Where were you? So here rather than yeah, so you're always coming away at the end of a slur, and then even there on that trill, yeah, and then this is an upbeat, away. Now this is quite a strong chord because it's got a 7. It's it's a powerful chord, and it's leading to a diminish. But we don't actually want to hear, if it's too long, then we don't have the sense of the rhythm and the hierarchy in the bar. And it's an upbeat, isn't it? Yeah, so go on. So try to get into the habit of lifting all the up bows. Okay? How much time do we have left? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Should we do a little bit of fugue? Yeah? So, again, well played. You really, really nailed it. It's not easy, this fugue. I mean, I think violinists tend to say, oh, that's the easiest one of all the fugues. But it's still, that doesn't mean it's easy. It might be the easiest because it's the shortest and maybe most popular. I think you don't need to vibrate on the repeated notes. So the information, the gesture, again, comes from the right hand, even without a baroque bow. Yeah? And try to have a shape that goes... So it's not a martelé stroke, which you could do with this bow. So you're actually kind of thinking through the resonance, so they're not just short notes that are getting longer, but they have a ring. It's like little bells. Ding, 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 ding. Just play the theme for me, please. Well done. Try it without vibrato. Try and do it with the right hand. Well done. I mean, of course, because I'm steeped in this style, I prefer that. That might not be your choice. That is completely up to you, how you choose to do that. But I'll tell you why I think it works, is because we actually hear the direction from the first note to the fourth note. And especially when more voices come in, if there is clarity in the sound, if there's no vibrato, or very little vibrato, if you choose to just vibrate on longer notes, which is something that we think they did, according to performance practice, then those notes stand out more. So there's more variety, because the priority is always to have as much variety and contrast as possible. So just try that one more time, and maybe just go to the third voice and see how much difference you can make with the bow, and very little vibrato. Sorry to interrupt you. Well done. Yeah, you cope with that challenge very well. Maybe just build that into your way of playing when you play Bach, or when you play anything that's not romantic repertoire. So you have a very different sound. For instance, if you're doing a recital program and you're also playing, you know, Fauré and Brahms maybe, and you're playing some Mozart and some Bach, so that each piece sounds very different, even though you've got the same instrument you're playing on. Okay, we need to close in a second, but just I had a few more comments. The gesture of the subject is very clear. Sometimes we lose it the more voices there are, so later on in the fugue, try to home in on that initial gesture, whatever else is going on, okay? I thought you had a wonderful sense of build-up. That was really well done. So when you do the arpeggios, and then when you get to da ba 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 ba, that bit, I think it's bar 42, you could have more sense of release there. Yeah, do you know where I mean? It's this. It's that bit, yeah? Because we've just had this big build up, and it goes right to the top. It actually goes quite high in terms of where we are in a kind of violinistic history. And then when the sequence starts, whenever it repeats, I think you could have more articulation. You could be a little bit shorter and lighter and explore that, because it really draws the audience into the story that you're telling. One other thing, at the end, you know, the big improvisation after... So that D has the role of that is a pedal point. Yeah, so it's just that if you sing that D in your mind's eye, or however it goes. So you're basically exploring on top, but you still got that D running all the way through. I think you can speed it up. It doesn't have to be in time, because it's like cadenza. It's like an improvisation. Yeah? And then speed it up, and then... Now here, that's the dominant chord, and then really just improvise. You know, it doesn't have to be metric in time. And then you can get the meter back afterwards. Do you want to just try that ending? Maybe go from there, in your pitch. Well done. I think you can take a bit of time after you've landed. Dum. Then take time. Dum. Ah! They can't hear me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, it's come back. Thank you. So after the melisma, take a bit of time after the bottom D. One, tam, ta, because that's then kind of coming up to the last cadence, really, and we've finished the improvisation, so it's a different thing. Okay, all right, we need to stop now. Thank you so much for playing, Gabby. Thank you.